What is up, comic book fans? Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us on the local comic podcast. This is a little bit of a public service announcement that what you're getting ready to watch does and will contain spoilers. We are talking about new releases. We are talking about books that have not been out very long, probably. And so, if you are reading any of these series that we're talking about, they'll be listed in the description below. And you do not want spoilers, if you're not caught up, just give us a pause, go read that book, and come back and hang out with us. Otherwise, buckle up and let's talk some comics. What is up, comic book fans? Thank you so much for coming back to the local comic podcast. We are back again with episode 15 of the Absolute Show. Do we have some fun stuff to talk about this week? This is so cool. We had another new series start this week. 2 books from the Absolute Universe go live on Wednesday. But before any of that, before we get into any of that fun, we got to just talk like we always do. And we're going to start with my guy over here, Mr. Phil, Mr. Rebel Recess. What's up, buddy? How was your week?
The same thing as last week. Pollen. My gosh, it's killing me.
It's so
Everything is
bad.
yellow. The yellow lanterns have arrived. It's just
Yeah,
yellow out
every
here.
everything is yellow. We washed our car at around 7:45 last night, and we woke up this morning and it was yellow again, completely covered. I was like,
We
"There's no
need
point."
we need a hard rain of falling is what we need.
There's hard rains are gonna fall.
We need it because it's got to wash this crap away. God, it's brutal.
Yeah, I've had like see, I don't have like severe allergies like a lot of people do around here, but it has been bad enough to give me the little, that little twinge of a headache pretty much all day long.
It's just bad. It's bad. And it's beautiful outside. That's what stinks. Like I'd like to be outside, read a book, sitting down, enjoy the little breeze. Can't do it. Won't
No,
do it.
you go out
Can't
there, you
do it.
get hit with one breeze, and your eyes start watering, and
I'm
every
choking. It's just all on my throat. It's just I can just feel the particles.
the
It's horrendous.
particles.
The particles.
Oh God. Oh, that's good stuff. Well, did you get anything cool this week?
Well, obviously our 2 new books, which I would say are very cool. And
Both very
then
cool.
very cool. And then I had 2 more books on my list. My shop didn't have either one, so I ordered one of them. I didn't order the other one yet. I need to. I got the Helverine 5, first appearance of Helverine. I got the spoiler variant. They had cover A's. They didn't have the spoiler variant, and I wanted the spoiler variant because I think that one's going to be worth money, and it never is. But that's when I ordered. And then I wanted what was it? Godzilla Heist? Is that what it was called?
I
I think it's
think
called
so.
Godzilla Heist, and there's a Fast and the Furious variant cover with Godzilla and then the green car. They didn't have that one either, and I haven't ordered yet. I need to order it. But I love Godzilla. So anything Godzilla gets my attention. But then Fast and the Furious, maybe by the 20th film, they might make the crossover. Like, I'm all for that book's going to go up, baby. So I got to get it.
Godzilla becomes part of the family.
Dude, they just got to do it. They just if they don't do it, they're just wasting it. Like they should take advantage of Transformers, GI Joe, Godzilla, Jurassic Park. Fast and the Furious should collab with every one of those major franchises. Even the DC universe and Marvel universe, we should see these guys show up. Just think about Secret Wars if they showed up.
Yeah,
The theater
yeah,
would lose their minds.
right. And you just have Vin Diesel talking to Groot.
So they just got to take advantage of it. And spoiler, well, no, breaking news, ding, ding, ding. On Wednesday, you already know this. My phone just went off. Alex Ovechkin just passed Wayne Gretzky.
Wow, that did not take very long.
It did not.
That game just started. I heard something really good. I'm really glad that he did it today, because at 7:30, when the game against the was it against the Hurricanes that he tied the record. No, 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 it wasn't. It
No.
was it was the last game that they played. The game that he tied the record at when that game started at 7:30, the lowest price ticket for the Islanders game was like $200, which is pretty expensive for an Islanders regular season game because I don't even think they're in the playoffs right now. And that's kind of expensive to get in the building. By 10:30, after he had tied it, the cheapest ticket was like $1,500.
Nuts. So I'm glad he's saving people money by knocking it out instead of having people
Well,
pay
that
each
was
game. Just think about oh my gosh, the
that
amount of
was
money.
that was the funniest thing ever too, because I was like, somebody said, imagine this, imagine you pay this money, you go to this game, and he doesn't break the record, and you just spent $1,500 to see a New York Islanders regular season
It would
game.
be brutal, man. That's crazy.
But I know Gretzky was there. I think he said he was going to every game until he broke the record, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So
well,
good
Gretzky
for.
didn't have to pay 1,500 to go to every game either.
No, he can just walk in any bit. He can walk any
Yeah,
barn he wants to, and just
yeah.
just go ahead and be good to go. He don't have to think about that. They'll find him a seat. Um, but yeah. So yeah, congrats. Shout out to Alex Ovechkin. I'm glad he did it. Now I can go back to disliking him in the Capitals as much as I typically do. But I was sort of cheering for him this year, hoping that he would knock it out because I love it. That's awesome. It's a crazy record. You know, they said Gretzky's would never be broken. Now I'm kind of.
There was a guy on Twitter who posted like 10 years ago and was like, it could never be broken. It would take someone scoring 50 a year to do it. And then someone tweeted it and they were like, I'm from the future and I'm sorry to tell you, but someone broke it. So someone thought unbeatable and he did it and basically the same pace as well. So it just
Yeah. He tied it. I think he tied it a game shorter, and
right.
then obviously broke it this game. So pretty cool. Very cool. So good for him. See you in the playoffs, punk ass.
Go Canes.
Let's go Canes. So yeah. So that was cool. I got some things this week.
Oh boy, did you. It's just another fantastic week by Travis.
uh,
More deals.
yeah, one of them was a deal. One of them was not a deal by any. You know, how how do
You
you get
can't even say it.
how do you get a deal on something that's a ghost? I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like that's my thing. It's like it's a ghost. So I did get. I got. Everybody can obviously tell by the name and the Spock back here. I'm a big Star Trek guy. I have a pretty
Nerd.
I have a pretty nice. I have a with the guy with the full Star Wars black action figure collection taking up the wall back there.
Yeah.
Um, I do have a pretty substantial signed Star Trek book collection. It's probably my favorite part of my collection. With some cool stuff like Nimoy and all that stuff. But one that I have not been able to get was a guy by the name of Rene Auberge. I'm gonna butcher his name. Aubergenois. He has a very French last name. He was the chef, Chef Louis in The Little Mermaid. He was also Mr. House on Fallout New Vegas. But his most notable role, outside of, I think he was in maybe Dragnet. I'm not sure. But anyway, he was, or no, he was on Boston Legal. That's right. But his most notable role was probably he played Odo on Deep Space Nine, and he passed several years ago. So signed comic books are not horribly hard to find with his signature on it, but they're not also the easiest thing. They're not. It's not like going out and saying, "Oh, I want a Scotty Young signed book." You can find one in about 2 seconds if you go look for one. You know, you might have to dig a little bit. But I did manage to get a really good deal on that book, and none of these have gotten here yet. But the big one was um, the main character from that series, Avery Brooks. He does not do conventions very often, and I did have an opportunity to buy a book signed by him 2 years ago. I did not pull the trigger. I went back to buy it the next day, and the guy was like, "Oh, I sold them all off." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I have not seen one anywhere, any signed comic by this guy in a minute. And I check pretty frequently, but I just decided to randomly check because I was kind of in a book buying mood. I was sending you a couple things I was looking at, and
When
uh,
Travis gets in the mood, guys, he is in the mood.
yeah, I was kind of like, oh, I might look maybe get a book today or something. A big book.
But no,
Yeah.
the mood goes from one book to two books to three
Yeah.
books.
Well, in fairness, the second book, the book I just talked about, that one was only like $20. It was a steal. That one was a steal. But this one was not $20. It was quite a bit more. And but it did have It was a Deep Space Nine issue, and it was signed by Avery Brooks, which I said if I saw another book signed by him that I wouldn't pass it up as long as it wasn't, thousands upon thousands of dollars. So I grabbed it. It also has the signature from the guy who played Quark, Dr. Bashir, who I don't have assigned anything from, and the guy who played Morn, who did not have any speaking parts in the entire series. He just sat there quietly, and it's a great running joke. It's just a dude in a costume, but everybody knows who he is. But so he signed it too, which was pretty neat. So looks like it had been taken to a couple of conventions and signed at different times. Some of them are dated, so it's pretty neat. But yeah, really excited. That's a personal Grail book to get one signed by Avery Brooks. So probably going to be sending about 4 of them to CGC. So that's probably going to happen, and do the JSA thing. I think it's probably time. Yeah. But other than that, no new Swampies. No new Swampies. My Swampy hasn't gotten here yet that I bought last week.
Well, the week has not ended. We still have time for you to get that one in.
I'm knocking it out. I'm knocking it out. I think I've only got about 4 or 5 left to get. So the CGC Wrightson wall is going to be close to done. So we're knocking them out little by little. But yeah, that's all I got this week.
It's plenty. It's definitely plenty.
When I sent you I bought the big one first, and when I sent you the big one, I was like, I just bought this, and you were like,
well, I fell asleep after that one, and then I woke up to more.
Yeah, I woke up more. I just bought another one. Sorry, here's the other one. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm always on the hunt for some of those unique Star Trek-y books. Those are my favorites. But all right, well, if you ain't got anything else, man, what do you say we talk about some of these books?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, guess what, guys? I've got the sounds, ladies and gentlemen. That's not it.
Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible. It didn't work. Wait. Hey, we did it. We did it. All right, cool.
That was me in my living room earlier doing my workouts again. Stuck in place though, not actually moving.
The text you sent me yesterday was so funny. I told my wife about it, and she busted out laughing. You texted me yesterday and said, I worked out for the first time in a year, and it's probably going to be the last time for a year.
I did it again today, so I made 2 in a row. So.
Oh my god. So as always, we're going to start with our normal stuff. We're going to cover the new releases this week. We'll talk about the release schedule, what's coming up, and then we'll jump into the news. Don't have a lot of news, but got some cool news. So that's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and jump right into it this week. First up, we've got Absolute Superman number 6. I toyed with which one I was going to talk about first. This was tough. Both of these issues were good. This was the issue of the week for me. This was incredible for me. So, the Last Dust of Krypton arc, the first arc for Absolute Superman number 1, or for Absolute Superman, comes to a close. We get the final story, kind of showing the ending of Cal coming to Earth and how he got there. We see how we see where he got his tie to Kansas. So we are getting some similarity now. Cal definitely landed in Kansas to Ma and Pa Kent. And had some great story work on the Kents. They we haven't had a lot of time with the Kents other than the weird stuff at the end, like where's my boy. But other than that, and then we had a kind of medium-sized reveal. It was a huge reveal at the end, like a crazy thing. But we're gonna get to that after we talk about it.
It's funny because we were just talking about them with the Batman issue.
We sure were. And if this is going to start being a standard kind of thing, we are in for, I believe, a lot of fun with the Absolute Universe. If we are going to go into where this ends up frequently with the other characters, this is going to be a fun ride, I think. So
I'm buckled up.
Oh man, this was great. Everybody's been kind of waiting on this. I mean, the Krypton issues were really good. The Earth issues were okay. They were good, but they were not quite to the level of Wonder Woman and Batman. And this one, if this issue doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. This one had everything. So let's just jump right into it. So it starts out again where the last Krypton issue ended up with Cal floating through space on his ship that was pretty much just Soul, and it shows him. It's like he's thinking in his head, talking about how you know they were going to be finding him and his family are going to be finding a new home together, and it goes through the course of time. So it's 8 days since it exploded, and then its soul's saying that it's scanning, trying to find a life-sustaining planet for Cal to land on, and then it goes 8 weeks, and then 8 months, and dude's hair's getting long, he's going crazy, and then finally 17 months, he starts talking and just says, "Soul, just let me out. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm there. We're not having any luck. Space is too big. Krypton was the only place. We're done. I can't. I'm done. So just let me out. I don't want to do this anymore. Just drop me off right next to that big yellow sun." And interestingly enough, as they get closer to the sun, his skin starts to burn, like from the inside. Like he starts to feel really uncomfortable, like something's going on, something's changing. And Skull, my God, Soul, Soul says, "Hang on a second, I might have something," and then turns out they're in our solar system, and they have come across Earth. Which my only gripe was they were really close to Earth before Soul caught this planet. So man, them scanners do not have a lot of range. Is all I'm gonna say.
No range, especially going that far. That's a little problematic because now I'm just thinking they passed so many places on the way that he just didn't pick up. I'd be upset. This is a bad Uber driver.
So from that, it does say that they found the life-sustaining planet, which we know is Earth. Duh. We cut down to Earth, basically the same time, and we get a beautiful view of a wheat field. And what I think is really interesting is it looks outrageously, eerily similar to the Krypton scenes that we were given with Kara and Jor-El. I'm sorry, Lara and Jor-El, my bad. I like that. I like that kind of that joining together, that kind of similarity between the two of them. You made Lara and Jor-El farmers, and you kept Ma and Pa Kent as farmers, and it makes it, I don't know, better for me. I think certainly makes it better for Cal. But anyway, they're talking about how they're not getting any rain, and they start talking about how Lazarus, their neighbors who have sold their lands off to Lazarus, have been getting rain, and it's almost like it's just stopped, just dead stopped across the street, and it's like they're controlling the weather. So we now know that Lazarus is likely controlling the weather, which is wild. That's some serious power.
Well, let's not. I love this part. So sorry to interrupt.
You're
sorry
fine.
to interrupt.
Go
But we
ahead.
find out that because the Kents are talking about that, like conspiracy theorists, and they're like they can control it, and they're like, no, they're not. These are just stories they tell you to prevent you from fighting them. So we technically don't know like what's actually going on. Like,
Right.
is it they just bad luck, or is that actually what's happening? So,
Right.
and I love
Eh,
that piece.
And if you're down on your luck, you will believe anything, right? I mean,
Right.
you gotta explain that. I think I talk about this all the time, and I think it's like human nature is that people have to explain bad things happening. They can't accept that a bad thing can just happen
Mhm.
sometimes, or an accident or something like that. And sometimes bad things just happen. But they've gone through a lot. Obviously, everybody around them. They hint that everybody around them is selling their lands off to Lazarus, and so he's saying that they. He even says, "Well, suppose it's true, all of it, and they're controlling the weather. What hope do we have then? If they're out here controlling the weather, what hope do we have? Because um, they've obviously they allude to the fact that they've been offered um, to sell their land off to Lazarus. They talked about how they've got crazy money, and they make a hint at something. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just gonna go right past it. Right past it. Okay, because it matters later. But I'm not gonna mention it. But anyway, so right after that, right after they kind of join together, and it kind of somber. It's kind of sad. You feel like they're kind of backs up against the wall and everything. This massive fireball comes down out of the sky, and there's a massive explosion in the middle of their field, right next to their house, and uh, you get Cal standing up in what I think is a. And by the way, we did have a guest artist here. This was not our normal artist. It has been Sandoval, but this one is Carmine Di Giandomenico. So Rafa Sandoval has been the regular artist. I don't know if this is another one of those 2 issue things or not. I don't think it would be because this is the last of the arc. But Carmine Di Giandomenico is is the main artist here, and I'm saying this because this panel of this panel of you know when he crashes into Earth is absolutely beautiful. I love it. It's busy. There's a lot going on. There's fire swirling around him. The S is all on emblazoned on his chest. It's all fire. And then there's kind of like a top down view, and it looks like Soul, like his cape, but it looks like wings behind him, almost like a guardian angel kind of thing. And I'm telling you, I was just blown away by everything, by all of the like, kind of just the way they kind of drew this to kind of make him, because the Superman we know is kind of the planet's guardian angel. So he gets out and he's kind of like crouched down. He's got these wings behind him that look like wings, but I think it's just his cape and the way Soul is kind of going away.
It's my favorite panel of the book. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, you have to see it. If you don't have the book, go get it and just open it up to when he crashes in. It's just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful panel. But Soul's talking to him, saying that their energy cells are depleted and they got to power down. So fire all around him, and then he looks out and reaches out, says something in Kryptonian, and I believe Pa Kent says "my God" at least 10 times in this book, and it is hilarious because I went back and reread it because Martha makes a mention of him saying it a lot, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he said it already again. So I went back. He says it so many times, but there's so many times Pa Kent just goes, "My God." It's just so good. But so he says, "I'll get to the house and I'll call 911." And she says something like, it's just a boy on fire. He goes, "What do you mean? It's a boy who fell out of the sky on fire." And yeah, it's pretty great stuff. But they talk about how his ship is gone all of a sudden. It's like he absorbed it, which just makes Soul even more cool. Soul is like the coolest new addition, I think, to the Superman mythos. I love the idea that it's all that dust from Krypton that's kind of can do so many things for him and help him in so many ways. But we get something that I know you're going to appreciate as a lifetime horror fan. Martha starts to try to nurse him back to health, and she keeps him in the bed, and he can't speak any English, can't understand what they're saying. But they said his fever is like 170 or 100. It's like way up there. Like his temperature is crazy high because of, we know, the yellow sun, but they don't. But they also have a super exorcist moment where he levitates off the bed.
It's so cool.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, Phil's gonna love that. He's like levitating off the bed, and his arms are hanging back, and it just looks very horror-esque, and a lot of some horror theming in this week's 2 books, and that was the only one for this one. But the next book's got some. They're pushing it a little bit. I like it. Yeah. So he realizes that he's got this. He finds his heat vision. He can't control it. He doesn't know what to do. So a lot of destruction, a lot of everything, and then finally, dude wakes up, takes off, and in classic Superman fashion, just runs through the wall, and just starts taking off. He has a little bit of an interior monologue where he talks about how he starts moving, and he's moving at an alarming rate of speed, and he was not athletic on Krypton. He was not anything special as far as that's concerned. He wasn't super gifted, and he has all this power. And talks about how he like stops, and it's another beautiful panel where he's kind of looking out over all the fields in Kansas, and the yellow sun's going down. And it talks about waves rippling through a sea of gold. Talking about the wind hitting the wheat, and it just says I'd flown a million light years, and yet somehow impossibly I'm home. And that's what I love about this is they really draw like they stitch the two worlds together for him really well. And so it fast forwards a couple weeks, and we do get Cal helping out on the farm. Can't speak a lick of English, but tractor breaks down. He's carrying the tractor with one arm and all this other crap, and doing Cal things. Uh, but one thing I did notice, and I'm not sure if this is if I read this correctly, but when he's carrying the tractor, they're walking back to the farm, and there's a big billboard, and it says "Future Site of Lazarus Corp Super Farm, another Smallville miracle." So I assume they sold the farm. Um, that's what it sounds like.
I thought it was just them putting that there as if they're still coming for it, that they haven't gotten it yet, that
Okay,
they're
that's
gonna
that's
win the battle is what I
okay.
figured, what
That's
I
a good
thought.
point. That could
Yeah.
happen. Okay, so yeah, that could be the case. I assumed that they had already sold it, but it did say uh, they both say thank you for saving their spouse. They both tell him they say thank you for saving Jonathan. Worried we'd lose him when we lose the farm, but you helped him remember who he is. And then he says thank you for saving Martha. I'd worried without the farm she would have nothing left to mother, and well, there you go. So again, I'm not sure, but yeah, I do love the
Yeah.
little, yeah, I do love the little, them telling him thank you and all this stuff. But it fast forwards a little bit more, and he's like trying to work on the engine, and his parents are super handy, and he's thinking to himself in Krypton and Kryptonian, and telling himself like, all right, just let the engine tell you what it needs, let you can fix this, it's not a big deal. Then all of a sudden, Soul just comes back, and the first thing he says is, he said, the first thing he says is, "Never mind anything. I need you to tell me what language these people speak and help me speak it," because my man was tired of not being able to talk to anybody. Um, and so Soul immediately jumps back into, "Oh, this is the history of the planet." He's like, "Stop, stop, dude! Like, just give me the language. I need it now." But Let me see here. He shows up. He shows up and says, "Hi, my name is Kal-El. I fixed your tractor." And Pa Kent with another, "My God." It just never stops. He just keeps saying, "My God." Um, and and Martha goes, "I'm Martha. This is my husband, Jonathan." He says, "My God," again. And she goes, "You already said that, John." It's just good stuff. Like I love kind of the kind of goofy humor that's going on here. I also love that Soul wakes up and just starts F and S up. You know what I mean? Like just starts messing with stuff immediately. So it says, "I detected some manner of remote drones operating in the sky with apparent weather influence and capabilities. I took the liberty of disabling them, and all these drones just fall out of the
So
sky."
and so she was right. They had been stopping the weather, and that's also, I think that's what kind of proved me in the thought of they haven't sold the farm yet. Because if they did sell the farm, why would they still have the drones
That's true. You're probably
messing it
right.
up? So
Yeah,
that's what my thought. But I just thought that was a cool moment.
yeah.
Like there they were questioning the conspiracy, and then he shows up and shows, yeah, they were
You're
doing
right.
that. You were
Yeah,
right.
you're 100% right. And then they said it rained for like 3 straight days. As soon as like the skies opened up when the drones came down, and it rained for like 3 straight days. Now we cut, and obviously things are gonna happen now. But we cut a little bit further ahead, and you get some inner conversation from Lazarus, some like radio communication of terrorist activity and immigration violation and stuff like that. And Lazarus rolls up to the old Kent farm, and they've got tanks and the peacemakers and they've got some Black Hawk helicopters. I mean, they're rolling it out for this. And they snatch up Cal, John takes a nice left to the old face, and the guy says, "Simmer down, Paw," which was pretty funny. Thank you, Jason Aaron, for tapping into those Southern roots, buddy. Um, uh, we get we do get we get a little bit of resistance from Cal, and then Soul. Man, I just love it. Soul's just got such an attitude, like without having one. But it says, "I cannot allow you to be taken by these men." And Soul just kind of explodes out around him, and he said, "Why are they doing this? Talk to them, tell them about Krypton." And Soul's like, "I can't do that. Only thing I'm here to do is protect you." Uh, uh, once they realized that they were not going to listen to him, Martha and John tell him to go. His eyes drop, and he takes off into the sky in a sea of red. It's just a really cool kind of takeoff. You get Martha and Jonathan obviously distraught. They only had a few days with him, but they already obviously loved him, and he already obviously loved them. He even says, and I'm going to read a little excerpt here. It's I had spent months weeping for Krypton for everything I'd lost, but that day the tears were different. I wept for the world I found, the one I could already tell I wouldn't be able to save any more than I had the last. Awesome writing. Great end. And we get a little flash forward to now, current day, present day, in Smallville, at the Smallville Senior Living Center. And someone says, "Hey, I'm looking for Martha Kent. Is she a resident here?" And the girl at the front desk, who I don't recognize, and maybe I don't need to, but she says, "Yep, she's in our memory care unit. Are we talking Alzheimer's?" She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, who are you again? Are you a relative?" She goes, "Nope, but you might say I'm a friend of the family." And it's Lois. Swings around. She's holding up her badge.
With that short haircut.
That short haircut. Yeah. Yep. So, that is kind of the end, except there's one or two more pages.
Glad I didn't miss them.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't miss them. So, at the end of it, we cut back to the Nevada desert at the Lazarus Corps Research and Development Center, and we get some black conversation bubbles. And usually black conversation bubbles mean it's a bad guy. But we do know who this bad guy is. Someone says Agent Lane is doing exactly what we're wanting her to do. So apparently she's being sort of played as a pawn. You do see what looks like a bottle city, which we already know he's dorking around here. But someone else is talking to Brainiac. This is obviously Brainiac we're talking about here. And someone else is talking to Brainiac and asking, are the pieces in place? And says, "I must say, I've doubted your methods, along with your very sanity," which I find interesting because in our normal universe, Brainiac is very calculating. He's very, I would say, almost eerily calm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Brainiac doesn't seem insane. He seems cold, calculating, kind of, like, just for me, he doesn't seem like a lunatic like you would expect the Joker. But but the funny thing is they actually, one of the panels shows him smiling, like kind of like a weird sadistic kind of smile, which again, I'm kind of like, they are really maybe making some fundamental changes to Brainiac. And if you get someone with like Brainiac's ability and just unhinged version of Brainiac, that's pretty crazy, honestly, or just a different version of Brainiac. But anyway, it does say, but deliver what you promised me. I'm sure your place in the world that is coming. And Brainiac says something about, "I'm just happy to be serving a higher cause." And then it says, "So say we all, salvation is close at hand for billions upon billions." And then you get a little notification that says, "Lazarus Pit deactivating." And for anybody that knows anything about some DC, you know what happens with the Lazarus Pit, and you know who is usually involved. And then out of nowhere, this big buff dude in a loincloth comes out. And once the Superman kneels at the feet of his holy father, Ra's al Ghul. Can we cue the Marv Albert? Is it Marv Albert or is it Kevin Harlan? Kevin Harlan.
Bang! That is right.
That is exactly how I felt at the end of it.
That
Bang!
and then I was so upset with myself that we have been seeing the word Lazarus everywhere, and like
I am
that
so
never cute. I just thought it was just that was just like a mention, like just like a nod to it. No,
yes.
it's point blank in front of us where they were going.
And again, it just goes to show we have got to get out of our own heads as lifelong comic book fans. We have got to stop when it comes to this universe. We have got to stop assuming anything. Like this isn't the same. So why not? Right? And
But it's great. It's so
oh
good.
god,
It
it
was
was so,
such a good reveal.
we had a double. We had more Brainiac, who we know is probably going to be our issue coming forth. It seems like he's going to be the most immediate issue, pressing on Superman. But now we have a bigger villain at play even then. So now it's eerily similar to Batman, where we've got the Joker, but we know Mr. Freeze and Bane are coming up, but the Joker is looming. Ross is now going to loom over the rest of this. And this is kind of a crazy, again, it's like kneels at the feet of his holy father. This is kind of an interesting take on Roz. This kind of almost godlike messiah, kind of character. So, dude, I'm going to say what I need to say. Then I'm going to let you say anything you want to say on this.
All
But
right.
this is the best issue of this series, hands down. This is of all of the issues of Absolute Superman. This has been the best issue. It had everything, and what an ending! Genius move, just absolute genius move to swap a villain, and I hope they continue to do this, because if you can swap a villain and fundamentally change who is in what rogues gallery, you want to talk about just left turns out of nowhere, like what you can do. I just it's endless. So 5 out of 5, whatever. Best issue of the series. Absolutely loved it. After you, my
Travis,
friend.
Travis, I might be crazy, and it could be recency bias. It is absolutely the best issue of the series. After reading it, I thought it was the best issue of the Absolute Universe.
I look at that.
I just was like amazed by it. I from the start when he's lost in space, got the little Tony Stark in game vibes. You have a fun little moment where Soul was like a smarty pants back. He's like, one cow, just one. Like, so I even like that little dynamic that it's kind of like a brother. So like
Yep.
going forward, we know they're gonna be having banter. No hope. And then you go to the Kents. They're having like no, they're struggling, but they have hope together. Like they're like, we're still gonna fight this fight. Then the angel falls for them. It just gives you more hope for them, gives you more hope for us. Like it's just a fun story. It's a familiar story for us, whereas all these absolute stories have been a little different. This is very familiar, minus the original. He gets there as a baby, he doesn't know who he is. This time he
Right.
gets there, he knows who he is. This type of thing, a little different. But the hope, then the funness of like the conspiracy theory or whatever. He's there. He shows them the way, basically. Like, yeah, you were right. Um, but then this is ripped from you again. Then they show up and they take him away basically, or he leaves. So he leaves
Almost
the chance.
immediately.
Yeah. So it's just like you're up and down, and it's not. If it works, it's not like it's cheapened by doing that in this one issue. And then so then he's away. So then it kind of cues us in on where he's been since then. What his path is. Um, and then you get the Brainiac stuff with Ra's al Ghul at the end, who I didn't expect at all. Just completely bang, mind blown. It was like a basketball game, just to put it that way, up and down. Then finally going to run at the end. Man, it was a fantastic issue. I loved every word, page. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and shout out the guest artist was a great fit for this story. I say a lot of times that a great story, if you have a great story and the right artist, it just makes it even more impactful. Not that Rafa Sandoval wouldn't have done a great job here. I love the guest artist spots that we've been getting here, and um, for that one panel alone with the wings,
It's so
like
cool.
it's unbelievable. So just a really 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 cool book. Um, Love to hear you say that about a Superman book. I love it.
Man,
It-
it was great. I couldn't
yeah.
believe what I was thinking by the end of it, but I was like, this is awesome.
But I'm glad I am also not the only person that I was like, damn, I really just read 6 issues of this and did not even, because I couldn't convince myself. I was like, why would they go with Roz? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? And then I'm like, why wouldn't they? They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. Like
Yeah.
if you like you said, take a character and fundamentally change them, move them to somewhere else, and you make it work. Like it means you're doing something good because it's not easy to do that.
And
And
it's so brilliant because like what is the hardest thing in comics or one of the hardest things in comics? It's creating a new villain or creating a
right,
new character and making them matter, making them stick. I mean, how many new characters have we had in Batman in the last 5 years and none of them have stuck? None of them. Like villain after villain after villain. There have been multiple new villains introduced and they were good, but none of them have really stuck. I mean, at all. And so the beautiful thing about doing this is you don't have to worry about whether this villain's gonna stick. This is Ra's al effing Ghul.
well, and that's the thing. So these are it's Superman, it's Wonder Woman. We're getting a different version of them. Why not get a different version of the villains and then put them somewhere else? Like that
Yep.
even that just makes this universe even more special and different than what we've had before.
Yep.
So
And I did include the Derek Chew variant for this issue, which I really 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 liked. There were some good variants on this issue, but after reading it and after getting the kind of Guardian Angel kind of thing, this felt like the right cover to put up here today. So unbelievable book. I just absolutely floored by how good it was. That I don't like doing the I told you so thing because I'm not telling you anything, but I've been saying it forever that anybody that said this book was slow, you just need to trust Jason Aaron. It's gonna be fine. Like it's gonna be fine, and this was certainly something that was worth the wait so far. It's been a great series. Now it's stepped it up a bit. So 5 out of 5 for me. Sounds like 5 out of 5 for you.
yeah, it's it's
Um,
it's great.
yeah, fantastic. Well, let's go on to something a little bit different. We have a new series starting this week, and it is Absolute Green Lantern. And I put up here under the top, Hal is having a bad time.
Having a bad day.
Oh man. And I like this panel out of the book. I went to try to find it and get a hold of it so I could put it up here. But I think it definitely sums up Hal right now, and all it is just Hal with his face in his hand, his right hand, um, and just saying, "I'm so scared," because that is the absolute vibe that you get from this dude the whole issue. But so let's talk about this. I didn't know what to expect. I there had been rumors. I'll read the synopsis real quick that I wrote here. It's another debut issue. It leaves the reader with a lot more questions than answers. That's for sure, without a doubt. I forgot an S on answer before you say anything. We do get confirmation of Hal Jordan's rumored fate, and we get the start of some interesting storylines and mentions and first appearances of a whole litany of characters. Just let's just put it this way: the gang's all here. The whole gang is here pretty much, at least for as far as Earth is concerned. Now I was reading some a couple reviews and a couple responses to this book, and it does seem that this book is getting a little bit more of a mixed reception than some of the previous ones have. I'm not just being a Green Lantern fan here. I understand that. I get it because there are a lot of questions here. There's not a lot of answers for anybody in this book. But I think just as a starter, as an issue one, this is a really, really interesting jump off point.
But that's
Especially,
and sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, you're fine.
that's the similar as Martian Manhunter. That's similar to the Flash. These new ones, they present so much more than they answer,
hmm
which
And I
isn't
think,
bad.
yeah, no, it's not bad. I do think that we may run into, we don't really know the nature of anything that's happening right here except for one thing that I'll get into here once we start the actual review here. But I do think that one, I hope they keep this artist. The one thing I saw where people were very hot and cold on this artist. I really like this. On art duties, we have Janoy Lindsay. I don't remember if I've seen Janoy Lindsay on anything else that I've read recently. Um, I thought the art style was almost anime, like almost like Attack on Titan kind of anime a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's different. It's definitely different. But I kind of dig it. I kind of like it for this. It's pretty neat. And then obviously writing, we have Al Ewing. Uh, Marvel fans will know Al Ewing. I believe Al Ewing is currently on All New Venom, which is getting a lot of pub right now. For some things that they've done with All New Venom. I could be wrong, but I believe Al Ewing is writing All New Venom right now. So if you would like, you can feel free to look that up for me while I get into this. But we're gonna jump in, and then we'll talk about this. Yeah, so I'm going to try my best to not pull any Green Lantern knowledge that I've read previously and try to approach this as best I can here. But
Al Ewing is doing All New Venom.
okay, that's right. So yeah, okay, good. You saw the spoiler, right? You saw who All New Venom is.
Oh, I did. I need to read it, but I saw it, so I haven't read it, but I saw it. You're laughing. I don't. It's different.
Well,
it's all new.
It's all new. I had this conversation with Lando on his show last Sunday. They did 4 spoiler variants leading up to this, and the person that All New Venom ended up being was none of those 4, and it was really aggravating to a lot
I
of
wasn't
people.
aware of that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did 4, as in like it was going to be one of these 4 people, and they had kind of
Gotcha.
kept it a mystery. And then it wasn't either. It wasn't any of those 4.
Well.
So people were, you know. You remember that meme I sent you of the guy who's really angry, the little black and white drawing guy who's got the little mad face, and he's got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's exactly that was my response.
What were the other ones? I'm bummed.
Oh, it was oh man, this is gonna kill me.
I can look it up later.
Yeah. There were 4 though. They had 4 covers, and
but was she one of them?
No.
Okay, so she's the 5th one. She was the 5th.
Yes.
Holy moly!
That's why I think people were a little aggravated.
Yeah, well.
Oh god.
I have that.
Oh man. So, but anyway, so Al Ewing is on writing duty here. So we start out with some, and this is why I say it's very anime. Like the first page, it's got the big eyes with the tiny pupils and the heavy line work around the eyes and everything. But it says, "Be without fear," and it says, You are in the absence of light. I am the secret heart within every star. Be without fear. Hal Jordan, you must be without fear." And then Hal says, "Without fear." So right away, we're getting this weirdness of it's all black. Everything's black. Be without fear, right? No fear. Like that's a common Green Lantern trope, no fear, no fear, no fear. And then the very next panel is actually this one right here. It says, "I'm so scared," which is great. It's a great start. Hal's going through it 1 page in. But we see Hal walking down the street. He's obviously in the desert somewhere, or in the west, out west somewhere, like Nevada, Utah. I don't know exactly where they're at. Probably Nevada. Everything's in Nevada.
Does that mean Mjolnir's gonna be somewhere out there? Sorry,
I'm just saying, Lazarus is in Nevada. Yeah. Oh, there's our crossover. So we do get a police officer pulls up to him. We get the turn, and I really wish I could share some of it with you, because I'm telling you, just this art just gives me that Attack on Titan vibe, which is cool. I'm here for it. It's different. But officer comes up to him and says, "Hey man, what's going on? Like, you're not gonna you might make it to the next town, but you're not gonna make it much farther, man. Like, it's hot. Like you can't do that. You can't be walking down the street out here by yourself." And Hal's got his hand in his pocket, and it's weird. You don't know why. And the officer notices it, and he tells him to take his hand out of his pocket. He goes, "I don't have a weapon. It's nothing. It's not drugs. It's not a weapon. It's nothing." And Hal can't answer him. He starts crying. And he pulls his gun out and he says, "No, don't." And cop says, "Last warning, show me your hand." But Hal does say, "I'm from Evergreen. My name is Hal Jordan. I'm from Evergreen. Something happened, and his name was Abensur." And the guy says, "Last warning, show me your hand." And Hal pulls the hand out, and everything goes black. And then it cuts back, and old boy is gone. He's gone,
Well, he's
except
not
for
just.
his badge.
There's a hole in the ground.
There's a hole in the ground. He is goodbye. Bro had a bad day. So that is your opening panel. We get the nice spread, the absolute Green Lantern spread, and then we cut to a diner. Hal comes in. Love the shadow work on Hal. I love the we get a little bit more of that, kind of like we did with Absolute Wonder Woman. A lot of motion blur in the background where you get a lot of depth on some of this art, where it feels very three-dimensional at times. But he just asks for water, sits down, and says, "Are you okay?" And he says, "No, something happened." And then an emergency broadcast comes across the TV, saying that something has happened in Evergreen, Nevada. So there it is, Nevada. Something has happened in Evergreen, Nevada, and they cut to the TV screen, and it's a giant Green Lantern, like it's the logo. I mean, it's
That was
it,
what was in the preview that I
yeah,
was talking about. It's just
right.
a big green lantern thing.
Yep, and there's two billboards too. I love right here. They both say "The end is coming. Have you been saved?" And then there's a giant. It's just falling out of the sky. It's pretty great. But it says the destruction seems to be almost total. It's really bad. Someone said, "Did we just get nuked?" Nope. And then someone says, "What happened in Evergreen?" He looks down. He sees this. I like this. Sees this coffee stain in, and it cuts again to this all black with this white kind of ring. And they keep cutting back to it. It's just this black circle, and I'm not sure what's going on. Before we go any further, actually, I'm not going to. I'm going to wait. So they go back in time, a couple days before all this happened. And Hal has a conversation with a couple of people. One or two look very familiar if you are keeping up with DC's continuity. But immediately they say, "Penny, for your thoughts," and says, "Oh, just keeping an eye on the time, John." So there's your first appearance of Absolute John Stewart. And at least we would assume it's John Stewart. And you find out that Hal Jordan is actually just Phil. He is a collectibles dealer. And he is just looking to get a good price on a Malibu Mary dream house, so that he can flip it for an even better price. But he's sitting there with Joe, who, if you're keeping up with the solicitations, Joe is apparently going to be the main lantern of this series that we know of. So we do get Joe on this kind of third or fourth page here. They're talking about businesses. Joe does mention after this, we do get a group of bikers fly through the town at full speed, like 100 miles an hour, like way too fast. And they're talking about it. And Hal says, "Well, maybe we should call Guy." So there's four. It's like I said, the gang's all here. Apparently, Guy Gardner is a police officer. We don't see him in this issue, but he's mentioned once or twice. So we do get some mention of Guy Gardner here.
And isn't she married to him? Is that, or did I cross that wrong, or there's something else going on there? They were talking about marriage. I thought she didn't want to call Guy. I didn't know. If that was, and they have a failed divorce or something, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Either she was an ex-cop, and maybe they worked together. I don't know if they were married though. They might have been. Yeah,
well, because they were talking
been.
about a wedding ring in the process, and that's why I got confused.
Yeah.
Myself reading it.
Yeah, well, he says, "Was Coast City really that bad?" And she said, "Like, it's all in the rearview mirror. I'd like to keep it there." And he says, "So why are you wearing your wedding ring?"
Right.
I'm not sure. And then John goes into this super like, why do you use the ring finger? Because Ancient said it was the finger of magic, and it was a direct line to your heart and everything. So, John doing John things. But as that happens, you hear another motorcycle come flying down the road, and we get a very graphic occurrence where this massive green bubble or dome appears out of nowhere. And it's solid as a rock, and this motorcycle crashes into it and absolutely disintegrates. Bro didn't have a
Eyeball popped
chance.
out.
Eyeball was
We're
out.
doing too much eyeball horror in these
Yeah,
books.
yeah. Eyeball is gone. They all see it happen. They run out there, and Hal walks over there and touches, and very oddly, um, with the left hand that he had in his pocket, touches this massive green dome, and then sort of walks through it. It's not. It allows him to enter. Soon after that, the other two join him inside of this dome. They say that they think it's curved. And then another group of bikers come back, and this was something that I thought was weird. They didn't really explain this. I'm not really sure what happened here, but they stopped, saw the exploded bike and the giant green thing, and then just turned around and left. But they said it's like they don't see anything strange at all. So I don't know if something is messing with like how it looks, if they don't see their dead buddy or what's going on.
Or I think they did see the strangeness and they turned around.
It's
'Cause
possible.
the next panel or page or two, you see what's there.
That is true. That is true. They do. It says maybe whatever it is, it doesn't like to be noticed. I'm not even getting any cell reception. And Joe says I think it's a dome. It curves around and up, and she looks up, and that giant Green Lantern logo that just crashed into Evergreen here in the next couple of days that we know is going to happen is just floating above the sky, and in the middle of it is a giant Twi'lek. I'm just kidding. It's a giant.
Don't get me excited now.
It's a giant four-armed alien, and it says Abin Sur. So there's your first appearance of absolute Abin Sur. For anybody that isn't up to date on their Green Lantern lore, Abin Sur is the original Green Lantern that crashed onto Earth and gave the Green Lantern power in the ring to Hal Jordan, much to the dismay of everybody.
He didn't look like that.
No, he did not. He looked very, very, very normal. He certainly didn't look like a giant alien. And someone said someone says I saw online, it's like he's big, ripped, and smooth as Ken.
He reminds me of Mewtwo. They put his tail on his head instead. He looks like Mewtwo to me.
A little bit, yeah. He's
Euphoric.
definitely wild looking. And it's definitely a different take on the character, but he's very large. But Hal says Abin Sur, and it cuts back to present day where he's at the diner. The waitress says, "What did you say?" And he says his name was Abin Sur. He came from somewhere else. That symbol in the sky belonged to him. And then they say, "Were you there? What was that? A spaceship?" And he said he called it the Green Lantern. So apparently, this is the Green Lantern.
It's a spaceship, Buzz. Sorry, I heard you say spaceship. I had to say it.
It's a spaceship.
Oh, sorry.
It's so good. I know, it's all good. I love it. But someone said, talk sense. Someone said, "What's going on?" He said, "Whatever it is, it's not his fault. Don't take it out on him." And he said, "Yeah, it's all my fault." He said, "I made a mistake. I want to be the hero." And Abin Sur did something. He gave me something. He gave me some kind of a weapon. They said, "Like a gun?" He goes, "Worse, much worse." And the girl tries to pull a gun out from under the bar. I believe it's the waitress at the diner. The guy walks up behind him, and he says, "What did you do?" He said, "On the highway there was a cop." He asked the same question, and Hal says, "I should go." The guy says, "What should you do?" And he goes, I didn't do anything I couldn't." And the guy reaches and grabs his arm, pulls on his arm, and says, "Give me that. What is it? A gun? A knife?" And he pulls it out, and you see Hal Jordan's left hand that he touched the dome with, and it is all black, meaning that Hal Jordan is the Black Hand, which is a long-running villain in the Green Lantern universe, and most notably is the original Black Lantern. I believe his real name is Edward Hand. But he was brought back to life and became the Black Lantern, as an undead version of himself, and basically summoned Necron and caused a whole bunch of problems for everybody in the DC universe back in about 2009, I believe. So yeah, Black Hand, big baddie, a much bigger baddie after Jeff Johns got a hold of him. He wasn't always like a super high level villain or anything, but he became very notable after Jeff Johns' Blackest Night storyline. So when he does pull that hand out immediately, Hal loses control, and this guy Earl, poor Earl, goodbye Earl.
Earl had to die.
Them black eyed peas, buddy.
Is that a Dixie Chick song? Earl had
It
to die.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
Wow.
I
How do
believe.
I know that?
Yep. But he starts to basically disintegrate Earl, turns him into what looks like particles. You're talking about particles.
That pollen.
That pollen. He turned him into pollen. That's actually just Earl on your car right now. But interestingly enough, I don't know if you noticed this again. Earl had a gold necklace on, and it was the only thing that didn't disintegrate, as well as the badge. The police officer's badge also didn't disintegrate when Hal poofed him. Hal screams, "It's the hand. I'm holding it back. It takes all I have to hold it back. Keep it away from people, but I can't control it because it responds to danger." And if you notice, every time there's been an episode, it has been when Hal is in some kind of apparent danger. Well, then he gets shot.
Danger. I'm in danger.
And when he gets shot, that black energy just bursts through the windows. It fills up the entire diner. I don't know if anybody's left from the diner.
They're dead except for one thing.
Oh, okay. So they are dead. All right. They didn't really show it, but it's
I don't
assumed.
think they had to show up, but we only see one thing alive, which goes back to your necklace and badge. There's the gold bell of the door. That's the only thing left.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. I forgot about that. I didn't even notice that until
we have three gold things.
Yeah, 3 gold things so far that are still existing. But Hal goes, "No, no, no, shot. I'm shot." And then I actually like this because if they are making Hal a villain, I know that it was very unpopular to make him a villain in the 80s. I know that the Parallax storyline is so aggravating to a lot of comic fans. I get it. This is better because this Hal is not a dick. that one was a real a-hole. And the reason I say that is the Parallax Hal, like he was just it didn't fit really. This is obviously a decent guy who is out of control right now and is trying to fight this, and you get that from this next panel. He says, "Good, maybe it'll kill me and kill this thing." And then all of a sudden that black energy comes off of his hand and starts to heal the gunshot wound, basically meaning this guy might be invincible.
Maybe. But I just checked that scene, so sorry again to interrupt. Everyone's dead because if you look at the page, there's a bunch of gold stuff on the floor. So
You're right.
Gold things.
Right.
So they're gone. Money clips.
Yeah. Everybody.
Watches,
that was a bad day to be at that diner.
Gold tooth, whatever you had, it's the only thing left of you.
poor Harry. Is it Harry from Home Alone? That tooth is gone. That's my gold tooth. But anyway, so yeah, he obviously he's cleared out the bar. The black hand has just healed his gunshot wound. He says, "Oh God, you're not going to let me die, are you?" And then you hear the ting ting. You're talking about the bell, the only thing left. Ting ting, and you hear Hal Jordan, and there's a glow, and you turn around, and there is our Green Lantern, Joe Mullen. What happened to you? Walking in the door, and that is the end of it. So a lot of questions, a lot of not explanation, which is fine. That's not a reason not to. That's not a reason to ding this book. It's the first book, but overall, I think a really good starting issue. Can't draw a lot of conclusions here, except that we were right. We had been talking about Hal being potentially the Black Hand based on some of the art and everything. You know, the original, the even on the cover, you know, is Joe flying upward, and you see this hand behind her, and it's him. You know, so a lot of this is showing that, you know, Hal is indeed the Black Hand, whether that's a permanent thing, whether he becomes an evil version of Hal or what. Right now, he's the accidental evil version of Hal. So we're going to see what happens, but we did get the first look at Joe as the new Green Lantern. Cool.
Which
I like.
means she was the one chosen out of the group that was there,
You
right? I mean,
think,
that's
you
what we
think. I mean, but we
do.
do have a core. We do have plenty of Earth Green Lanterns
Yeah,
now in the Prime universe, so we're going to see. But this story is supposed to be about her. And I think there were some people that were a little aggravated that there was so much HAL time here. But I think if you're definitely going to not make this a HAL story, get this out of the way now. Like,
right.
get
Well, and he may be part of the story just on the opposite end of it. She'll become our hero, and
Yeah,
yeah,
right, right. So, overall for me, really solid book. I give it, 3.5, 4 out of 5. It's good start. Some really intense, a lot of death in this book. A lot of people died, in this book to start with. And that's pretty hardcore. The art really, like I said, it really does it for me. I like it a lot. And interested to see some of these powers that both Joe and Hal now have. And and it's for me, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good start, and I'm looking forward to reading more of it. I didn't know what to think. I didn't even know, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure I was going to like be a huge fan of it because I really do love Green Lantern. It's one of my favorite um, characters. It's one of my favorite parts of the DC universe. So I was excited, but I was kind of like hesitantly excited. You know what I mean? Like didn't really know how to feel about it. But overall, though, I'm really happy with it. Thought it was really good. So what'd you think?
I liked it. I'll 3.5. I'll go with it. I do love, like you said, the horror themes from the last one. This one had a lot of horror themes. I don't know if intentional or not, but you have the common stranger on the highway.
Yeah,
Uh, the Ring, like the
yeah,
Ring. It looks like the movie The Ring. And so
yeah.
what's funny is it said 5 days ago. That means in 7 days. So 2 days from our current spot, something's gonna go down. Maybe he
7
dies. Maybe
days.
something happens. You got the Ring. Then you got the Black Hand, kind of like the Evil Dead. You mentioned someone named Necrom. I'm thinking Necrom Menomicon, or however you say it, from The Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. A lot of horror themes. I was digging those types of things. So
Yeah, this book was definitely dark, and I think it was intentional. If you actually go and type in Absolute Green Lantern right now on Google, it will bring up the Wikipedia page, and this is listed as a superhero horror book. So they're leaning in on this. They're really trying to make this a. Uh, I think they're saying it right out. This one's going to be an intense ride.
I like it.
Yep, I like it too. Green Lantern has always been
Oh,
best
and
when they
then
push it.
aliens. I forgot that you got the aliens. Swing away, Meryl. Like they're like, so I'm like, I hope that's a thing that keeps up and they just keep using that
Yep.
in issues.
Yeah, Green Lantern for me has always been just fun. It's just fun. It doesn't matter what you do, the different cores, the way Jeff Johns fleshed out that entire universe back in uh, the late, what do they call it? The aughts now, the late aughts, the late 2000s. The way he really built that over the years, and from the Sinestro Corps War, and then the expansion of the full spectrum of lanterns. Some really cool things came out of that, and it has always been a very entertaining universe. Um, Interested to see where this goes because I think a lot of fans of the Green Lantern that have read it really do love where Blackest Night went and the way Blackest Night was done, and that was a straight horror book. There's no two ways around it. It was a brutal and violent horror book, and it was endlessly entertaining. It was so good, and no hope, no hope whatsoever in that book for a very long amount of time. If they're leaning into that, I believe Green Lantern space horror is a thing that should continue, and I'm glad we're getting back to that, and that should be a lot of fun. So, yeah, good book for me. Definitely excited about the next one, but unfortunately, it just can't top what we got from Jason Aaron and Superman this week. It just can't. So,
No,
yeah, that was it. Yeah, so good week all around. Good releases this week. But in the essence of time, we're going to move on here and talk about the release schedule. And I got a couple of good variants here. I've decided that on the release schedule, I'm just going to show off a couple of variants that I like. So we've got Absolute Flash number 2, the Clayton Crane variant. I know you're a Crane guy.
Love them.
I figured you'd like that one.
Yeah.
And then this other one, let me look at it. I had it here and I lost it. This is the Jessica Fong variant. There is a Virgin 1 in 50 of this available as well, but you can get it in a trade dress for like $5.99. But if you really like this one, I like it a lot. It's Absolute Wonder Woman #7. I thought it was one of the cooler ones this week or coming up that we had to look out for. So a lot of fun there. But let's get to the release schedule itself. And this week is your week, my man. Absolute Batman #7. We are getting Absolute Mr. Freeze.
Oh, I can't wait.
And apparently we will be getting more Absolute Joker according to some of the news that's come out. So there will be some Absolute Joker in here. I hope it's not much. I would like to keep that on the back burner for a few more issues. I want to really give some time to Freeze and Bane. How about you?
Agreed. Yeah, let's let those other guys take over for a bit and then
Yep.
save Joker. I mean,
Yep.
I can wait on Joker.
Yeah, it's been so much fun just having him behind the scenes pulling the strings right now. I don't need him out front right now. But we've got Absolute Flash #2, so a lot to unpack from the first one with Golden Glider and Trickster and the Mirror Master appearance. Barry Allen going kaput. A lot of people getting blown up in these books. Captain Cold, obviously, Captain Boomerang. We've got a lot of first appearances in that first book. I imagine we may see our little primate friend coming up here in the next issue of Absolute Flash. So it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on. But I am excited about that. New Gods #5 comes out on the same day, on the 16th. And then we get Absolute Wonder Woman #7 and Absolute Martian Manhunter #2. So that's Phil's double duty week. As April 23rd, we'll have both of those books drop. I don't know how you could not be excited for Absolute Wonder Woman #7. And if you read Absolute Martian Manhunter #1, I feel like you just feel like you have to read #2 at this point, because there's no chance you have any clue what's going on. so that one's exciting. And then we get the real fun, the all-in Absolute Special on Free Comic Book Day 2025. That is exciting. That is supposed to tease the first crossover event of the universe. I am excited. I hope they keep the Absolute Universe and the Prime Universe separate for as long as we can possibly do it. I want this to really flesh out its own titles. I don't want a bunch of links back and forth. Like, let's just enjoy it for a little while and we can do this next year. But and obviously they haven't done anything wrong up until now, so I'm going to trust them on that one. But and then we get Absolute Superman #7. So exciting after everything that happened in this week's issue. Got to be excited about that. That will come out #7 on the 7th. That will come out on May 7th. And then Absolute Green Lantern #2, following up on a pretty fun issue 1, will also come out on the 7th. So we do still have a couple of double weeks. Following up after that, it's not on here, but right after that, the next week, we do have Absolute Batman #8, closing out the short Mr. Freeze story arc that we're going to get. So, my man, what's got you most excited on the schedule?
I mean, Freeze coming for Batman, and it's this week, so that's my most exciting for sure.
Hard to argue. It's gonna be fun.
I want to see that creature, man.
I want to see how it gets there. Yeah,
how it moves, what it does.
My son has been very obsessed with Mr. Freeze as of late. He's been watching the animated series quite a bit, and
the original.
Yeah, and he's very obsessed with Heart of Ice. And I was like, my God, you have taste. That's one of the best Batman animated series episodes ever. He loves Heart of Ice. It's one of his favorite episodes, and he watches it constantly. Another one is Sideshow, which is not one of the best Batman animated series episodes ever, but pretty solid.
Which one is that one?
That's the Killer Croc one, where they're out in the country and he finds that that carnival troop or whatever out in the middle of the woods. Not a great one. One. But definitely Heart of Ice is one of the top tier. Maybe it's personally one of my top 3. It's an incredible episode. Yeah, so Batman animated series, goated.
Fantastic.
Goated. All right, let's move on to the news. And guess what? Hey,
so we're at Metropolis, or the Daily Planet.
The Daily Planet, baby. All right, let's move on. All right, here's some cool stuff. I didn't tell you about this before the show. I don't know if you saw it, but the Absolute Flash speeds past a nearly 40-year-old record. Jeff Lemire confirming that this week the Absolute Flash #1 is the highest selling single Flash comic since the Flash #1 in 1987. That is big boy news. That is
That's
absolute huge.
wild and
Yep.
incredible.
Yeah, so shout out to Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles, all those guys, everybody over at DC. Obviously, we've seen some crazy sell numbers for the Absolute Universe, but look, people, I feel like we've been talking about this ad nauseum on some of these community comic channels, and I'm glad people are talking about it. People are constantly saying comics are dead. People are saying that nobody is buying comics. I say the same thing I've said the whole time. Bullshit. COVID didn't kill comics. Everything is great. We're good.
Killed everything else, but comics are great.
Yeah, yeah. It may have effed up the aftermarket, but the sales numbers for comics are higher than they've ever been. They're higher than they
Yeah,
were
if
in
you're
COVID.
breaking records.
Yeah, and you know what? It just goes to prove that if you just write good stuff, it works.
Good content sales.
That's it. People are already buying your books whether they suck or not. So like, I mean, I can't tell you how many books I pulled off the shelf that were DC or Marvel or Image and anybody and been like, wow, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like okay, I say this sucks. Like, I'm not talking trash. I'm just saying that, like, this isn't doing it for me. This isn't very good. I've read better, right? Like, but when you come out here and you really, really, really give us something that's really, really, really strong, people are going to buy it. Word is going to get around. This is not all speculation. Now, I'm sure there's some speculators in here left and right, but, this is not all speculation. This is people that are investing in this new universe because it's damn good. And that was a huge piece of news. That's probably the biggest piece of news this week that I have, is that it broke. I mean, if we have gotten to 2 more years, it would be it's a 38-year-old record. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Flash too. We're not talking, something
right.
smaller. Flash was huge.
Yeah, Flash is a major character, and this is breaking, this is breaking records from a standpoint of we've had Flash events. I mean, a Flash book from Flashpoint didn't sell like this. You know what I mean? So I just this is a huge win. DC's got to be over the moon about this. And I had to share that. That's awesome. Shout out to that team and shout out to everybody in charge over there, in charge of this universe, because it just goes to show this is it. They're doing the right thing here. They're killing it. Now, I know we typically talk about the aftermarket. There was nothing on the top 10 or the runner-up list, but we will see if you had anything on the top 10 or the runner-up list.
Well, that Spawn's still hanging around. So
Yeah.
Spawn, and then I had the infamous Iron Man.
I
Doom
too
Iron Man
I
cover.
I too have the infamous Iron Man cover. There's that number 2 was that spoiler variant, the all new Venom spoiler variant. But other than that, I don't believe I have much of anything. I might have that Avengers Doom cover, probably. It might be in the Doom box. The Doom box is
Yeah.
wildly stacked with stuff, so it
I
could be.
it'll never happen, but I would love for Robert Downey Jr. to sign my infamous Iron Man. Like that would just be
That would be cool. That would be a cool
fantastic.
signature to have. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cover's so cool.
Yep. Yep.
And I got a very clean copy. It's at least an LB 96 minimum.
I
So I
have
got
two.
that bad boy signed and
I think I
ready to-
have 2 copies of it. One of them is very good. Black covers.
so they're hard, but when you get a
Yeah.
good one,
Yeah.
man, I like my Darth Maul over here.
Yeah.
Cover 96 signed.
Yep. That's
Man,
awesome.
you get a black one that's clean. It's clean.
Yep. Yep. So, and I probably have. I'm gonna guess I have that Fantastic 272. I have
Probably.
so many fantastic books from that time period. I probably have that one somewhere. So I think I sold my Spawn #1. So I think I'm only at 2, maybe 3 if you count the Doom cover. But yeah, so 2 or 3 this week. Nothing crazy. Do love the and I know, Mark Spears. People are getting a little burnout on whatever. That's fine. But I do love Mark Spears Green Lantern covers. I think they suit his color palette very well. So I like that.
It is a good one.
That Hal Jordan Green Lantern cover is pretty great. But yeah, so nothing there on the aftermarket. But let's talk about another little bit of news that we have. Hey, we have some rumors about maybe where the next Absolute book is going to go, and it looks like it could be going to our man, Dick Grayson. There are rumors swirling that the next Absolute series could be coming out of the Batman universe, and that is kind of being. People are asking for them to hopefully not lead with Batman, but hopefully try to just build this universe out without leaning on Batman as much as DC has done in the past. And I agree with that. I think that's great because Batman is a great series, but they're doing a lot of really good things right now. But it does look like they at least are exploring the option of taking a character that will be in kind of the same kind of zip code here as
Right.
Batman. And this is fine. This is totally fine. I think this is a logical next step. I don't know where I don't know who I would rather see them go with for the next series. I think with everything that's happened with this character over the last 5 to 10 years, I think it's probably a decent step. So
Yeah, but it wouldn't be he wouldn't be connected to Batman, right? If they just junk, I mean, 'cause he's not now, so it would just be him starting up on his own,
hmm
little
so
starter.
we could get some interesting stories out of that. I think.
Yeah.
I do think that it'll be it just depends, right? Who you're going to put on it. I would die. I would literally die if they just said Tom Taylor come back and write this and let let Tom and Bruno bring back Bruno Redondo to do the absolute Nightwing series, and then they just finished their Nightwing run like last year, and it was a masterpiece. It was one of the best, one of my favorite comic runs in recent memory. And they're just like, "Oh, we're out. Psych, we're back. Absolute time. Let's do this."
And
And
they could do something so different. I could see them like taking on that challenge.
yeah, it'd be awesome. And Tom Taylor's written alternate universe stuff. He wrote the Injustice books. He knows how to do that. But I'm sure they'll go a different direction with it. Tom is writing other things right now with DC, so who knows? But it would be I even pulled that's Redondo's art. I had to pull it. Like I even pulled from that series because it's just series is a masterpiece. Their run on Nightwing is an absolute masterpiece. If you haven't read it, there's an omnibus coming out. Wait for it to come out. Go buy it. Read it. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so yeah, so it looks like we may there's a chance that we might get an absolute Nightwing series. This is just a rumor. It's not news per se, but I do like to talk about it. Is there a character you'd rather see? That's my question to you.
Uh, I don't know. I
Like, do
was
you
thinking
love
about it.
Nightwing?
No, I'm down with Nightwing. I'm fine with that. Red Hood. Uh, why not? I don't know how you would do it, but sure, do it. I was thinking more of spin-offs of characters already in the Absolute universe, and I was thinking, what if we did get like an Absolute Alfred? If we saw his things, like I was thinking more of like along the lines of that, a spin-off of someone already within. Um,
Absolute Lara Zor-El.
yeah, or well, I mean, this is a little different because we kind of know it, but like we know Alfred is involved and been doing stuff, so it's
hmm
like you could give him some characters before he got to this point with Batman, like a prequel series, I guess,
Yeah.
to getting to Batman. That was just one of my thoughts that I've been while reading that they
Yeah,
could do.
I was thinking, in terms of, what secondary characters. I mean, because we're hitting all the primaries pretty much now. Now that we've literally put all of the Green Lanterns up
Well, we
here. Like,
don't have Aquaman. Like that's another. What I'm just thinking of the common Justice League characters of Aquaman. You don't have what's it, Cyborg.
Cyborg, yeah.
Um, And I just don't care for those two, to be honest. Now, maybe the Absolute Universe might make me care for them, but they're two that I'd be fine if they don't introduce.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. You
Absolute
could
Booster Gold. I
well,
want more Booster Gold. Give me more of
yeah.
him. Where's he at?
Yeah, there's a chance for Booster. If you wanted to continue to go, like you've put out some big ones. I mean, everybody thinks that Manhunter was a little bit of a curveball, but if you wanted to throw another curveball, you could maybe go investigate some of the more magical characters. Even though you're kind of getting that with
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, but you could explore some of these. I'm not, Swampy. You could look at John Constantine, but I don't know that they would do that because there's a new Hellblazer series coming very soon, like
Mm.
really soon. And is that what I think that might be what Tom Taylor is writing? I think Tom Taylor's writing the new Hellblazer series.
Well, then that might be good.
So, yeah, it might be. I can't remember exactly who's
And am I
writing it.
wrong to think like I love Constantine, I love Swamp Thing. Am I wrong to think they don't work in this universe?
No, you're not.
Because everything's flipped, and like, how do you flip someone who's already dark? I mean, I don't know what you would do different, right? Because aren't these characters a little more dark? Wouldn't you agree? Like, seem like on a darker, deeper, and those characters already are like dark. What else are you gonna do in
Yeah,
that realm?
yeah,
Now
yeah,
they can show up as side characters. Obviously, what about if they get a whole new run?
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I kind of get you there because you're sort of you're kind of changing the whole dynamic of this, and so yeah, they may not necessarily work, but um, it's certainly we're definitely going to see more series,
Right,
and and so I don't think you can get an Absolute Legion series yet.
right, yeah, no,
I think that might be a little complicated, given what happened in the All In special. So yeah, you try to run through some of DC's more common titles, and another thing that I think you're kind of getting at here too, maybe not intentionally, but Wonder Woman is kind of
yeah, she fits that. Like
she's
she
she's very Zatanna and
they
Constantine and
witched her up.
yeah, and
What about Absolute Shazam? And instead of a boy who becomes a man, he's already an old man and he becomes young. I'm just
Absolute
throwing
Benjamin
stuff at.
Button.
Yeah, just yeah. It's like, but he's like a 15-year-old, or not even maybe 10-year-old. Maybe he's a 10-year-old
Yeah,
superhero. I'm an old
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Shazam! I'm
yeah.
young again. I'm kicking butt.
I do. One thing I think would be maybe interesting is maybe an absolute dead man or something like that. Some that
Yeah.
could be fun. But there is a laundry list of characters where you could go into. I mean, you could just go through any of the Titans and start looking there.
Wow. Well, they could just do them as a group to start
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
yeah,
that would
you
be
could do
good.
that, and feasibly you could use Nightwing to lead into that. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want him to lead the Titans in this universe, you could use this Nightwing series if it is what's happening to lead into that. So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options. I don't know which one I would rather have. So that's why I'm saying like I'm not sitting here today and saying I absolutely need to have an absolute.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not either.
So if
I'm
you're
good with what
telling
we
me,
got.
yeah, if you're telling me that hey, we're gonna make an absolute Nightwing series, I'm gonna be like, all right, let's do it.
Right, and I have faith that they have a plan. They know what they're doing. It's
Yeah,
gonna fit. So
yeah, yeah. Again, I'm good with that. I think that that's a reasonable. Um, I think that's a reasonable way to go about it because I just don't think that we're dying for an absolute Aquaman right now, and I don't know that. I mean, we might be. I'm sure there's some diehard Aquaman fans out there. I don't think we're dying for an absolute Cyborg right now. And I don't know that he necessarily because Cyborg's kind of gotten the promotion, right? Like he was for the longest time just he was the Teen Titans guy. You know what I
right.
mean? And then he got that promotion and now he's punching with the big boys. But I think I think there's some interesting ways to kind of dig into it. But I will say that I have zero problem going Nightwing. I just feel kind of bad for people who are following up the run that we just had. Um, because it's big shoes to fill. But hey, that's comics. That happens to everybody. It's hard to follow up a big run. But maybe if you get the creative liberty, and they certainly have it, to make it your own, you can do it. You don't have to fight against 70 years of backstory. And you can really you can make Ra's al Ghul a Superman rogue. So yeah.
Bang!
Bang! That's it. That's all we got, guys. You got anything else, man?
Stay away from this pollen, folks.
Stay away from that pollen. Don't
Survive.
just don't even mess with it. Just don't even mess. Just run away.
Golly. I don't. I wrap my comic books up before I take them outside, so I don't get touched by it.
You're gonna. It's gonna turn you into the black hand, the yellow hand.
Not good.
All right, man. Well, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. A little bit longer episode this week. We had a lot to talk about. These were some big boy issues. There were a lot of things happening. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. As always, on the Local Comic Podcast, we will see you next week for episode 16. So, my man, thanks for hanging. We'll catch you. Oh, you doing any streams this week?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll
I've been
try.
catching you. I've been catching you a
I
little
haven't been
bit.
hit and miss, man. I've been playing so, like I said last, I've been playing so well. So like I'm trying, but we'll see what happens with the kids, man. Again, we talk about this all the time. The kids, too many kids, too much stuff,
It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot
too
of
much
stuff.
stuff.
Lot to keep up with. So,
Yeah.
but all right. Well, we will get back together next week. You guys can expect a special guest here at least one of these weeks coming up. I don't know exactly when, but it'll happen. But other than that, thank you guys for hanging out, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Later.